And a special thanks to our sponsors. Please do your best to support them because they make this program possible. And now, a story we can all be very proud about because the town is setting an example for the world. Park City began as a mining town, and in the 1960s transformed into a ski town. Today, this ski town is becoming just as famous for mountain biking. And this is no accident. Check out our story on the first gold-level mountain biking town in the world.
"30 miles east and 2,500 feet above Salt Lake City, Utah, the town of Park City, Utah, hosts a network of trails that brings outdoor enthusiasts throughout the year and from around the world. Originally named Parley's Park City, after the area's earliest European settler, a Mormon man named Parley Pratt, the locals soon dropped the Parley from the name and found silver in them there hills. And when the mines came, the first mountain trails were built.
You know, the trail system here in Park City didn't exist in the late 80s, early 90s. A lot of the mountain biking we were doing, or a lot of trail running, was basically on old mining trails that the miners used to get up to the mines. There's probably 12, 14 miles of bandited trails on private land. Everything in the Park City area is basically on private land.
There's a wonderful public-private partnership that's been developed in Park City. And because of the myriad of agreements put in place when new developments are planned, Park City has become one of the world's greatest places to mountain bike. In 2011, the International Mountain Bicycling Association, or IMBA, named Park City, Utah as the world's first gold-level mountain biking town.
Technically, the trail system is a non-motorized, multi-use trail system. So it's equestrian, it's runners, bikers, hikers, basically things without motors.
Anyone who's pounded their pedals, crisscrossing Round Valley, or gathered the kids and the dog and cruised the rail trail does not need National Geographic to tell you it's in the top 20 mountain biking communities in the country. Anyone who's taken the lift to the canyons daring downhill, or Deer Valley's famous tidal wave, certainly does not need Outside Magazine to tell you it's the best town ever.
The catalyst for that change and legitimizing the trail system, probably one was the mountain bike industry was growing rapidly in the late 80s. Two, all of a sudden, Deer Valley did a very bold thing. They actually started lift-serve mountain biking. And to do lift-serve mountain biking, they actually had to build some trails.
It's estimated that in 2016, there were 1.5 million user days on Park City trails, but it took a while to get there.
Mountain trails actually got started in the fall of 1992, and all those things kind of started to come together. There was also a significant law passed in about 1991, 92 in Utah that was it's called the Utah Landowners Act. And basically it protected the landowner from opening his lands to public use.
With the law settled, the community definitely came together in many ways to cooperate on the long-term plan.
At first, people were kind of like, especially developers, why do I have to build a trail? But as these trails got built and they started to connect communities, it became really noticeable that it was a really good thing. And nowadays, everyone wants to put a trail in.
Since 2011, when Park City became the first gold-level mountain biking town in the world, there have been other designations in other towns: Boise, Eagle, Idaho; Oak Ridge, Oregon; Twin Cities, Minnesota; Cuyuna Lakes, Minnesota; and Nelson, New Zealand. There is not just one thing that makes Park City so good for riding. However, the number of trails and the amount of riding you can do without retreading any miles is remarkable. By most estimates, there are around 400 miles of connected single track in and around Park City.
So when they took a look at the gold level application, it had everything from beginning terrain parks for kids, what type of programs are in town, like young riders. Did the buses have racks on them so you could get around? And did the hotels actually welcome bikers, have storage spaces for them, hoses to clean their bikes at the end of the day, work stands?
It's also about how well the trails are maintained. The Mountain Trails Foundation crew, as well as crews from Deer Valley, Summit County, and Park City, are responsible for clearing trails and cutting any encroaching vegetation. With 400 miles to maintain and only 6 months of the year to do it, the task is Herculean. It's often said that Utah has 2 seasons, winter season and construction season. This truism relates to the trail building and maintenance business as well.
We have here about a 24-week building season in this elevation, and we put out a 6-man crew typically for about that 24 weeks. And we also have, even when we're building, like we're actually up here building today up in Shadow Lake, we also will be running part of our crew, will be doing the other jobs in town that need to be taken care of. So right now, the foliage is crossing over the trails. We're starting to cut everything back again.
Originally, the biking trails in Park City were all advanced and very technically and physically challenging. But Charlie and some other devoted locals saw the potential for expanding the commerce in Park City by making more family-friendly beginner trails. And although it costs about $5,000 to $15,000 per mile to build new trails, the miles increase each and every year, and payback is tenfold. The city currently brings in a yearly average of $529,800,000 to the Utah economy.
At this point, I think we'd have to use that cliche from the commercials, trail system is priceless. If you look at it from an economic basis, especially for the community, and you hear some moaning and groaning about it in Park City, is we don't have a slow season anymore.
As bike technology has improved and as the sport has grown, so too is the creativity of the artists creating these trails. The pace and the flow of these serpentine paths is a play that's plot is slowly revealed to the explorer by an author whose name may never be known. And as the tools and the equipment for the trail building have improved, so too has the trail design, making the trails more eco-friendly and non-invasive.
I have a phrase I like to use that instead of thinking of user days, sometimes I think of all those people out running around as basically having a positive lifestyle choice. So I usually think that we actually provide what I call PLFs, positive lifestyle choices, and those choices are incredibly healthy. They're going to make people live longer, be happier, enjoy themselves. You can't go wrong with getting outdoors.
Which brings us back to the trailhead of this story, from silver to gold. The lessons for other communities can be found not just in how these trails were built, but why. There are other places around Utah and the West that can benefit from the example set by Park City. There is a future for the economics of recreation, and the economics of extraction are in the past.
Most of us believe that the recreational component to Utah is part of the largest industry in Utah. That mining and so forth, the extraction side of life, is really short term. We can recreate for as long as we like, right?
Thanks for joining us. And remember, we have much to do maintaining our utopia, and we have lots to learn from all the work being done by those out there on the front lines. From golden eagles to gold-level trails, the vision and the work of some admirable folks here in Utah shapes the future for those who love to call this place home. And in case you've missed any of our previous episodes, please visit us online at utopiatvseries.com and visit our Instagram at Utopia Television. Remember, we don't inherit the earth from our parents. We borrow it from our children.